Hey YouTube, it's Katrina. Welcome to day 16 of my YouTube orbit. Look what I found. I found the shirt Discover 2000 Read. This is a shirt that I got one summer when I volunteered at my town's library 10 years ago. So I was little. And what I did was I helped to put together a shadow puppet show for little kids, and somebody would read a book and then the characters would be there on the puppet screen. It was fun, so I found the shirt and I thought, well, this is appropriate. Today I'm going to be reviewing two books, like I promised yesterday. Today is A Tree Grows in Brooklyn by Betty Smith and The Catcher in the Rye by J.D. Salinger. These are both classics, pieces of American literature. I love them both. This is very short, and this is very long, but they're both very easy reads. So first, for A Tree Grows in Brooklyn, this says more than 1 million copies sold. I know that it's more than that now. This is an old copy. So this is considered to be a coming-of-age book, and actually kind of like a pseudo-autobiography, because a lot of the characters in the book are based off people that Betty Smith actually knew. So this is a book that it follows the lives of a family who lives in Brooklyn, and it's a Irish Austrian family, and the main character in the book is this girl that you see on the cover, and her name is Francie Nolan, and you see her grow up from when she was little up to when she's a young woman, and you see her learn about what it means to grow up, whatever that might mean, but basically it means like a losing of innocence and a changing of how you see the world, and how she comes to think of people. So it's called A Tree Grows in Brooklyn because it opens and talking about a tree. It's called a tree of heaven, and it's considered an invasive species of tree, but it's this tree that was around when she was little, and by the end of the book the tree is still growing. So that's where the title comes from. And the New York Times said, "A profoundly moving novel and an honest and true one. It cuts right to the heart of life." It's a classic, and it takes place at the beginning of the century, right before maybe like 1910 up to World War I, and after World War I too. So you should read this book. It's great, and it gives you an idea of what life was like back then too, which is very different from our modern day and age. So, A Tree Grows in Brooklyn. Now for The Catcher in the Rye, which sells about 250,000 copies a year, which means that it's sold at least 65 million since it's come out, and it's been translated into all these different languages. It's very popular. In the United States, it has been challenged because of the way that the main character speaks. Sometimes he uses profanity, and there's sexuality in here, and a lot of teen anger and frustration and angst. But this book is about a young man whose name is Holden Caulfield, and he's going to a school, and he's just stops caring, and he decides to leave and go to the city, and he spends 3 days in the city, and really all he wants is someone to talk to, but at the same time, whenever he talks to somebody, they either turn away from him, or when they leave, he misses them. But I think it's a great read for any adolescent, because it is such a young voice, speaking. There's a lot of symbolism in this book. It's just chock full of it, and I personally love symbolism. I haven't reviewed Cold Mountain yet, but that is just... Anyways, but Catcher in the Rye, the title comes from a poem that the protagonist, Holden, mentions at one point, and he interprets it in the way that he feels as though he's called to protect children, specifically his younger sister, from the evils of the world and what it means to become an adult. So both of these books have to do with coming of age and what it's like to learn what really happens in this world and how can we deal with it. So I suggest both of them. Yeah, so read The Catcher in the Rye, excuse me. It's if you haven't heard of it, I'd be really surprised because it's in all over pop culture, and it's just, if you don't read this in high school by now, I mean, that is surprising to me because it's very well known. And A Tree Grows in Brooklyn, I actually read, I think when I was in middle school when I read this. And this book is thick. It's over 400 pages, for this copy at least. Catcher in the Rye is a little over 200 pages if you get like a small size like this. But yeah. Have you read those books, guys? What'd you think? Leave a comment below if you have. And whether or not you think that there's parts in these books that you can relate to. Let me know. But other than that, I will see you tomorrow. And just so you know too, move week is going very well. My room does not look as terrible as it did the other day, and I'll actually show you. See the pile of clothes and the bedding that was over there? It's all gone. It's still a little messy, but I will fix that soon because I have to get out of here by June 7th. Otherwise, bad things happen, meaning I have to pay money because my belongings would be out. But that's all, guys. Bye.